Hey, so we saw Sinister. Absolutely loved it.
Love it. This is probably one of my new favorite horror movies of this generation.
Absolute must see.
Yeah.
Don't miss this movie. It's got.
Before we get into spoilers, I gotta tell you, this movie was scary. It had a lot of jump scares, but it did them well.
They were mostly noises. They did that well.
And not only that, it featured things that could have been featured in a Saw movie. That alone really. It was just a great movie. All right, before we get into actual spoilers, George, do you have anything to add before we get into spoiler territory?
I think we can. I guess we can. We can't really explain how the movie worked without spoiling it.
So
I guess a couple of things that it does right. It does not show you everything. It has that sense of restraint. Like even if the scare is over or spent, it won't show it to you because that will add on to the dread that you experience for the rest of the movie. It has a sense of restraint that you don't normally see.
And not only that, it actually features atmosphere, which I think a lot of movies don't do anymore. And I'm really glad that they did a great job at pulling you into the movie and giving you a sense of terror, because really there were a lot of things that make me... Look, I've been desensitized by horror movies. I've seen them all. I've seen all the Friday the 13th, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, all the Halloweens, and even some of the lesser-known B films that were really scary. This... literally, it does a great job. I mean this honestly, it is a great horror movie, especially for October and Halloween. I just want to say that before we got into spoilers.
I also wanted to say something else. The sound was really good. The sound design was brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. So,
that's what really made it work.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess gotta get into spoilers now.
Spoilers ahoy.
Okay, so here's how the movie starts. The main character is played by Ethan Hawke, and I don't know what else he's been in, but he's a really good actor.
He does a good job. He kind of looks like Tom Green, though. So I thought he was Tom Green when I saw him, and I thought, Tom Green wouldn't be in a movie like this. What the fuck?
Alright, so...
the sun glare.
Hold on, I got this, people, don't worry.
There we go, there.
Alright, so here's how the movie starts. The movie starts, and after the opening credits, we see four people... with nooses and bags around their necks, and
a tree limb is being chopped off by a saw tied to a rope.
When
it's completely cut off,
the tree branch falls and they're hung.
They're all lifted up. They're dead.
And then that's it for 5 minutes, and then we go into the next part of the movie, which is Ethan Hawke's character is moving into the house where those people were murdered because he's a true crime writer. And if you don't know what a true crime writer is, they're people who write books about murders that were never really solved and are about missing characters. Yeah. So he's writing this story about these people because it's a really interesting take, because the daughter's missing, we don't know what happened to them, and then the four other family members are murdered. What happens after that is Ethan's family consists of his son Tyler, who looks like a miniature version of Kurt Cobain with the long hair.
A little bit, yeah.
And his daughter Alexa. He's kind of
the know-it-all kid who tries to act way more mature than his age. He's trying to maintain some sort of sense of responsibility since he kind of knows his parents are all over the place.
Right, and then there's his wife, who's played by...
not all over the place physically, but...
Yeah, and then his wife is played by... what was her name again?
Oh, God, Sarah... God, I'm gonna kick myself for this.
Well, her name's Julia in the movie, so we're just gonna refer to her as that.
Okay, yeah.
So, Ethan Hawke's moving boxes into his new house, and it turns out he goes up to the attic and finds a box filled with Super 8 reels and a Super 8 projector. And a scorpion.
Which
he kills.
He kills the scorpion, it's scary.
Right. So, Ethan basically looks at the list of the Super 8 films, and they're like pool party, family barbecue.
It's just normal, just like normal home movie stuff. You would think, it's just someone's old home movie tapes.
Yard work is another one.
Yard work.
And then lawn work, and we'll get into that when we reach that part of the movie. But basically, this is what happens. Ethan's writing about the family who got hung from the tree, and so he doesn't know about.
He's about to watch these reels.
Right, so Ethan goes down and starts compiling an FBI profile, look at the killers.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts looking at the Super 8 tapes and says, okay, what the fuck, I'm gonna watch him anyway.
Yeah.
He looks at Yard Work, and it turns out to be about the family who got killed, and it actually shows them being filmed and how they died.
So he's on a quest to figure out who's the murderer and who recorded this, and why would he leave it behind.
Right. So then after that, Ethan basically watches another movie called Barbecue. And this is where I started realizing what these tapes meant.
Yeah. The first one is Yard Work. Yeah.
So yeah, if you kind of haven't figured it out yet, here's what happened. The barbecue tape is about a family who's just going to the lake and everyone's happy. And then they cut to a garage, and the garage is chained, locked up.
There's gasoline in the car.
And everyone's tied and gagged, and then somebody throws a match through the windshield, and they all burn alive.
Yeah, so it's all named sarcastically.
Yeah, but we also noticed that there's a weird little symbol on top of the car, and as Ethan keeps watching the tapes, he starts noticing after the pool party one, which, if you don't know how that works, they're tied to deck chairs, they get pulled into the pool and drown.
And it's all shot so well. These reels are probably the scariest part of the movie.
Right, and not only is that the scariest part, that's a really good scary part, but while I'm watching this, I'm thinking, okay, this could work in a Saw movie, like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
Because it literally feels like, the main character kind of reminds me of Billy from the Saw movies anyway, so I'm thinking, is Jigsaw pulling all this crap out? Because if he is, I'm gonna be happy.
And you see bits and pieces of the killer's face, and there's actually one image, and this actually bugged me.
What?
He got a really, really good image of this killer's face. Wasn't this all supposed to be shot on grainy Super 8?
Yeah.
Like, somehow, like, after the image is supposed to be so grainy, like, he's looking through each of the individual reels, and he starts noticing this guy is hiding around. He's hiding in these images. You can see his face if you look for it. Where's Waldo? And he's looking around, and he's looking at these faces. He's trying to figure out who Mr. Boogie is. And Mr. Boogie,
is actually a pagan...
I went ahead of myself. He discovers the name Mr. Boogie because on the lid of the home movies reel, he finds little kid drawings of each of the murderers, and Mr. Boogie standing next to each murder. So he's trying to figure out who Mr. Boogie is, and he sees Mr. Boogie in each of the videos that he was watching. So he's trying to look for Mr. Boogie in each Super 8 reel to piece together who he is. But in one reel, and this bugged me, is he's actually able to get a really, really good looking image of Mr. Boogie, even though, you know, these films are supposed to be super graining. At one point, you can barely make out the face, and then all of a sudden he zooms in, and you can see it perfectly.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with this, and it is kind of a bit of an issue, but besides that, really what amazes me is that this actually, they don't edit the Super 8 movies from the first time you watch them to the second time you watch them. They're filmed as is. So I actually looked hard enough, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, I see how they did that. That was amazing. Because in all the movies, Mr. Boogie's there. It's just in the pool party one, you kind of actually see you actually see him a lot more clearer than the other ones. And
I think it was in Sleep Time.
Yeah, Sleepy Time.
Sleepy Time.
So anyway, in the last reel he sees in the fourth reel he finally gets the name of a place where one of the murders happened, where all the family members were tied down to beds and they had their throats slit.
But he can't make any sense of these connections because because the time periods are all over the place, from the 60s to the 90s
to the 80s to the
all over America, and no one can make any sense of what's going on.
Right, but eventually Ethan calls on the Deputy so-and-so. His real name's Oswald, but everyone just calls him Deputy so-and-so because that's how he is. And he says, okay, wait a minute, this looks like an occult message. I think you need to contact
There's a professor I know. There's a professor.
Yeah, this seemed like a bit of this seemed kind of weird, like there's just a random professor in a sleepy town who knows this shit, but...
I mean, he's helpful, but he does seem kind of written in, who wrote this?
Shit, I didn't look that up.
Oh my god. This is embarrassing. We forgot who wrote this.
Yeah, we just looked at IMDb.
Oh shit.
Right.
Damn it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Look, we'll look it up later.
Look.
The point is that the professor basically, says, alright, I know who you're talking about. It's actually a pagan deity named Bagal, who's the eater of children. And turns out Bagal is Mr. Boogie. So
Yeah.
essentially a pagan deity somehow lives in America, and he's consuming children's souls.
And all of the research he's doing is affecting his family.
Trevor now gets night terrors.
He's always had night terrors, but they were never this bad. The kids are finding out bits and pieces of what he's learned. He's got a little girl who likes to draw in her room, but not anywhere else, who painted a picture of a dead girl.
The dead girl from the...
Yeah, and the dead girl in one of the videos, right on the wall. In the living room, and it keeps, and like all of this keeps building up, and like, you know, stressing out her wife, and he finally has to like reveal that, surprise, honey, we moved into the house where, you know, 4 people were murdered in the backyard.
You're right. So besides that, this is all wearing on Ethan's mind, and this is what I really like about it. It's more psychological than actual bloody and gory.
Yeah.
So as the movie goes along, Ethan starts to realize this is getting too much, but he's still going on because he hasn't had a hit book since his first one, and he's written 3.
He's worried about his legacy, and he's doing it kind of selfishly, though he's telling himself he's doing it for his family.
Right. So after that, Ethan watches the last reel, which, I shit you not, this was the one that made me almost piss my pants. I swear to God.
That one?
The last reel. Here's what happened. The last reel is called Yard Work, and not yard work, lawn mowing or whatever.
Oh shit! Yeah. God damn it! I missed that. I missed out on that. I feel bad.
All right. So here's what happened. We went to the Alamo Draft House this time, and so.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. We'll talk about them later. They're cool,
anyway,
though.
What happened was that George was distracted, and I'm watching the film. They were doing the Super 8 film of the family already inside.
Yeah, I saw a blur. I didn't see see enough detail to make out a girl's head.
Right, so it's completely silent. You just hear, like, faint background music, and then you see a lawnmower, and I'm like, oh no, I know exactly where this is going.
Yeah, you knew.
Right, and then they don't, but this is what happens, like, you just see the lawnmower getting pushed around you. You don't know
the lawnmower. It's pushing the little lawnmower.
And then, out of nowhere, you see a small girl.
Girl's head up!
And then Ethan, he just walks away, like, he's looking at, he drinks whiskey, walks away, he's like, I can't do it, I can't. So, but Ethan still keeps going on about the investigation, and I kind of have to give it to, Ethan Hawke's character. I get why he's doing this. He's not only doing this for the money, he does feel like there's a sense of justice involved in this, and he is onto something big. If these 5 movies just randomly showed up one day, he's kind of got to figure out what's going on with this.
Yeah, he can't just walk this off.
Right. So Ethan Hawke's character continues to live in the house. There's spooky stuff going on, like
Trevor's having night terrors. He starts suspecting that there's stuff in his house. He's had to arm himself with a bat several times.
And
He's had a dog growl at him.
Yeah, that dog scene was actually really kind of interesting. Like, here's what happens. Ethan looks at a picture of Mr. Boogie. He pulls out the picture. Mr. Boogie's right outside in the bushes where he was in the picture.
Oh God, yeah, that was terrifying.
Right, and then he's like, he rubs his eyes a little bit. He looks back. Mr. Boogie's not there anymore. So he goes outside with a bat and a flashlight. And honestly,
and there's a dog. He was smart to arm himself. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I find that kind of odd that I know this isn't when he figures out that he's a god or something, but even then, doesn't Ethan have a gun? He's rehearsing. He's looking into crimes. I think a gun would help him.
That's a good point.
Anyway, so Ethan goes outside. He drops his flashlight
and his bat.
Yeah, and his bat.
He drops his bat in the backyard.
Right, and he sees that Trevor's cowering in a bush, so he goes up and brings Trevor back in the house.
He's having another night terror.
Right, and he says, "Okay, I gotta go back outside. I left something." He left the flashlight and the bat, and the dog's growling at him.
And he thinks that the dog is growling at him.
And then
behind him,
behind him, we see the silhouettes of the 5 children who went missing. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with those kids?
Like, you don't and then you start to learn, like, because here's the thing about Mr.
No, don't spoil it. Just
we're already spoiling it.
No, don't get to that. We're jumping ahead. Don't ruin.
Okay. All
right. So after seeing all the videos, Ethan hears something around his house, so he goes. Ethan Hawke's character hears something around the house.
Yeah.
I think his name was Oswald or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Deputy so and so.
There's
actually a running gag about that.
Yeah. So anyway, Ethan Hawke's character walks around his house one night because he hears something. It turns out the Super 8 projector got turned on, and he walks around, and as he's walking around, you see the kids, and they've got really, really zombified makeup, like they're corpses walking around in his house.
Yeah, zombie white face makeup.
Right, and then you see all of the kids that were missing. You see Stephanie from from the yard work video, you see,
I'm
going to call him Pablo from the barbecue video.
Yeah, his name is Pablo.
Yeah, and the kid in the swim trunks, and then you see the fifth girl from the lawnmower video, and I'm starting to think, oh no, there really is a connection between all this, and it's a supernatural one. Yeah, and there was a moment where I started to think, oh shit, they're going to take the easy way out. They didn't. Basically, Ethan climbs up, and his daughter sees the girl from the yard work video, and she does this, she's like, don't tell anyone.
This is earlier in the movie. We talked about when she painted.
Fuck it. We forgot to mention the ghost. All right. Well, after
I was gonna mention the ghost. You told me not to spoil it.
No, not that part.
Oh.
So Ethan starts going crazy, in my mind at least, and so he wakes up one night after hearing Super 8 projector noises in his head. Yeah,
he keeps hearing, there's spooky shit going on in the house. The Super 8 keeps starting itself. He keeps hearing bumps in the house. He keeps suspecting that there's something in the house. This dog thing. Trevor's having night terrors. The little girl. Somehow, the children are learning bits and pieces about this murder.
Yeah. Anyway, so the professor calls and says, "Okay, listen. I know what you're talking about. This is like I said, it's Bagul, the pagan deity.
Yeah.
The eater of soul, the eater of children.
Yes.
What happens is Bagul needs to trick a child into going into his world so that he can feast on the soul and continue to live. And also, so then I finally, and that's when
you figure it out. That's when you figure out who the kids are and what's going to happen.
Yeah, they're Bagul's,
They're Bagul's little kids.
Like, so when I was watching this, I'm thinking, okay, Bagul killed the families.
Bagul loves the children.
Oh yeah, I was like, he even kind of looks like Michael Jackson in the later years. So I'm like, oh shit, Michael Jackson's ghost is
haunting us. Yeah.
All right, so this is what I was thinking.
He's gonna murder your family and take one kid for himself.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time. It's like, Bagul's murdering these families and is taking one of the kids to either eat a soul or live with him, because they never really, they never express this.
He doesn't really seem like he's eating them, but the point is he's taking them into the dark world.
Right, he's taking them into the Silent Hill world.
Yeah.
So, after that, I start realizing that, okay, I see where this is going now. Well, no, I was completely wrong. It turns out, after Ethan goes back up into the attic after hearing a bunch of noises, he sees all the little kids.
He's sitting around in the attic watching a movie.
Yeah, watching the whole movies on the Super 8 machine.
And they
turn around.
And they all go.
And then Bagul jumps out and scares Ethan.
And he falls on his ass.
Right, so Ethan basically says, oh, fuck, I've had enough of this.
Okay, he's finally admitted to himself that this house is fucking haunted and barbecued the home movies. He barbecued the tapes, he barbecued the videos, he destroyed everything he destroyed everything related to it in the fire, and he packed up the shit and left with the kids, and he gets stopped by the police. And here's the thing about the police. Earlier in the movie, they were having trouble with him because they were like, "Oh, you're one of those true crime writers, huh? You give police a real bad name. You think we can't do our job? You're giving us a bad name. You're making us look bad." And he admits, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm not writing this book. I'm getting the fuck out of here." And he's like, "Oh, well, thank you. I guess I'm not gonna give you this ticket. Rips up." On your way.
And stay under 60 before you cross the county line.
Yeah.
But on that point, on what you just mentioned about the cops, Ethan doesn't hate cops. He actually...
Yeah. But the cops hate him because of what he writes.
Right, but he says to himself, he doesn't disrespect law enforcement. He's a really nice guy. He's basically saying, look, I think they do a great job, but when you make a mistake, it costs people's lives, and sometimes a true rhyme writer can...
He does it for a sense of justice, but he also does it for his legacy. And throughout the movie, he starts realizing, oh my god, I'm making a terrible mistake. I'm putting myself and my family in danger for a legacy. And even if it is out of justice, this is too big for me to handle. He apologizes to his wife and takes the kids.
And they go back to their own house. And then there's the scene where
the movie isn't over yet.
Oh no. No, this is where I truly fell in love with this movie. At the very end of the movie, Ethan gets some pictures of Bagul, or Mr. Boogie. I'm just going to call him Mr. Boogie.
Yeah, call him Mr. Boogie.
Alright, so he gets some pictures of Mr. Boogie from the early Christians, and the professor tells him, well, it was superstition. You see, they believed that Bagul lived in the pictures of him. Mm-hmm. So if he was around in a picture, he would live. It was a portal from his world to ours.
Yeah.
And Ethan's like, oh, wait. And oh wait, what happens if you burn the pictures in a fire?
And he doesn't really answer the question because he's confused, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He says, I don't even know.
I don't even know, I'm not writing the book, it's over,
yeah,
man.
but the pictures he actually shows them are, there's a scorpion,
and it's
a snake, and a dog.
And he was attacked by a scorpion, he was attacked by a snake, and all of it seems very similar to the whole movies, like that image where they were being drowned. Remember Pool Party?
Yeah. But then this is what happens.
Deputy so-and-so calls.
Yeah, Deputy so-and-so calls, but it's after Ethan finds the box of Super 8 movies again.
By the way, he after burning the videos and returning home, he signs the videos in his attic, completely unharmed, as if they had never been burned. And he finds extended cuts. Mr. Boogie gave him the extended cuts.
Hey, Ethan, I know you like watching me murder these families, so here's the proof that I did it. But it's not. Ethan pastes together the extended cut endings, and it turns out all the missing children were the ones who murdered their families. Every single one of them. The one Pablo
they all just after being murdered, they all just get up, they get out, and they do this, and then they walk off
and disappear. Disappear. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Then that means Deputy so-and-so calls and he says, Ethan, I know what happened. There was a connection. Every family who got murdered lived in the house previously, and it's like, wait a minute, what does that mean? Well, you lived in their house,
so now
you left, which means not only have you put yourself in the harm's way again, you've accelerated the timeline that he's going to kill you. And Ethan realizes this, he's like, oh no. And he starts getting drunk.
And then he takes a sip of coffee, and he looks in his coffee, and he realizes that someone broke a glow stick into it.
Yeah, now, here's the thing. Throughout this movie, I thought it was going to be Trevor. It's not. It's the little girl who's possessed by the ghoul.
I thought it was going to be Trevor, too, because he was experiencing all the night terror shit. Oh, and we must have a connection to the parent. No.
No, it's not. It's actually the daughter, and the daughter says, don't worry, Daddy. I'll make you famous again.
She kills
out a Super 8 camera.
After drugging him, he takes out an accidental Super 8 film, and she's reeling it, and she kills him.
And kills every single one of them.
Yep, and then she gets to add a new little drawing to the lid of the box.
And
joins them.
Yeah, here's the thing. We don't actually see her kill them, but she just draws in the box, and you're like, oh shit.
And you get to see, like,
she chopped up their bodies. And then you get
to see, like, the blood painted all over the walls, which is extremely creepy because she likes to draw on walls. They let her do it in her room. It's part of her character. So it's really creepy to see all of this little drawing stuff in blood on the walls.
Right.
Like, it fits her character a little bit. It's creepy.
Right, and then at the very end, Bagal grabs her and takes her into the Super 8 world.
And the movie ends.
And then Bagal jumps out one more time.
Boo.
Yeah.
It's a jump scare, but it was well-deserved.
It was. So on to trailers real quick. I want to get the trailers out of the way. We got Silent Hill again.
Yeah.
We got a new trailer for some movie called Flight with Denzel Washington.
Yeah, it's a movie. Yeah, the trailer basically spoils the plot for you.
Yeah, it turns out Denzel
Washington is a drunk pilot who saves everyone, but they're trying to pin it on him because he had a BAC. When they rescued him.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't know. It could be okay. I mean.
Yeah, we got movie trailers we've seen before, so it's not like we saw anything besides Flight that was really new.
Now
Plus, we're at a new theater, the Alamo Draft House.
The Draft House is awesome.
Right, we're gonna
you know how Toonami is awesome, not just because of the anime they show you, but because of the way the anime is presented with the bumps. Alamo Draft House is like that, but 80s Grindhouse.
Oh, yeah, like they were showing old trailers.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, so I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, I gotta come back here again, because we'd come here once before to go see Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, but we haven't come back in a while.
They tell you not to talk during movies by having Dolomite and two hoes. Just like, Dolomite's just chilling with, like...
Actually, that was a scene from a movie called Demons, which I said I love that movie as well. Like, it fits this movie sort of, but it's really, really good. So, you know, we only got like 3 trailers. Silent Hill and Flight were 2 of them, and then another one I don't care, because I think we've seen it before.
Yeah.
But, in all honesty, I love this movie. It was a great movie. It was scary. It was suspenseful. There were characters you loved. It was dark and atmospheric, and you don't get that a lot from horror movies anymore. It's all blood and gore now.
Yeah. They show you everything, and it never
Like, even when you realize what the Super 8 films mean when you see their titles and then you see how the families die, you never expect how that's gonna happen. Like the lawnmower
What did you
one.
think of that? What did you think that he was just gonna go like from brain dead and he's like, boom, boom.
No, it's like with the lawnmower one, it's like, okay, wait a minute, I know it's going to involve this lawnmower, because the last 4 involved drowning, burning alive, and getting hung, but I never saw it coming. I didn't expect them to run over the kid's head.
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, you never see what's going to be expected with this movie. You never do. It's always going to keep you guessing. And I know we spoiled it, but if you didn't see the spoiled part, then guess what? You're going to be in for a great movie. I recommend this movie entirely.
Yeah.
Go see it in the theaters. Buy the DVD if you want a good Halloween movie. But for the love of God,
Don't miss it. Give this movie your money. It deserves it.
It does. It's one of the few horror movies that nowadays feel like a horror suspenseful movie. It's not blood and gore. And don't get me wrong, blood and gore can be good when you do it right. And I'm referring to the Saw movies. They were good movies up until the last 4, but the first 3 were amazing because they had good suspenseful art and good suspenseful.
You felt genuinely uncomfortable from start to finish, but you couldn't look away.
Yeah. I gotta tell you this right now. If the rest of the month of October is with Sinister, I hope to God there are more good movies, because I know I said earlier we wouldn't review a good movie, but you know what? After Hotel Transylvania, I said, fuck it, we'll just pick a movie at random and see if it's good or not. And I was glad we saw this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it genuinely creeped me out. And let me explain to you something. When I say I'm desensitized by violence, you can show me a guy who's like a rotting corpse just walking around. His head, he's missing part of his brain.
Yeah, his head, you can see everything and whatever.
Yeah, you can see everything and you're like, okay, whatever. This movie's like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? Why is that movie like that?
It's not blood that makes something scary. It's the way it's used. It's the sound you hear when you're walking. It's the sound you hear when you're walking around. It's not I keep going back to the sound design. It's not just dun 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 dun.
No,
it doesn't. It's not. The sound design is so clever. It makes everything so much scarier. I honestly think that it's the sound that makes a horror movie scary.
It is,
yeah.
I gotta tell you this right now. This was a great.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Oh wait, now I remember the other trailer. It was Cloud Atlas, that really weird one.
Yeah, Cloud Atlas.
It doesn't matter.
The trailer was the trailer was confusing.
Yeah, I gotta tell you this right now. It was great, but when Ricky comes back next week, he is not getting the good movie. Oh, no.
Of course not. He's failed on too many movies, man.
Oh, no.
We gotta get him back.
Yeah, we're getting him back, and I swear to God, I know how we're gonna get him back. Silent Hill was already gonna be on his list because he hates that type of movie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sending him to Paranormal Activity 4 when he comes back. I don't care what he said in the last video. He's getting Paranormal Activity, and he's seeing that movie alone.
Yeah.
And I'll send him...
And we're gonna film it, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've said this before. I've said this enough times already.
Yeah.
Great movie. Great horror movie.
It is worth your time to see this flick.
Yeah, and it was about a 2-hour movie, but it didn't feel like that at all. Yeah. And I gotta say this right now, there needs to be more horror movies like this. Just plain and simple.
Like it doesn't like. This is how you make a horror movie. It really is. You don't. You just do your own thing. You don't
copy everyone else.
Yeah, Last House on the Industry. Even the title's derivative.
Yeah, and that was a bad horror movie.
Honestly, it was a bad horror movie. Not absolute bottom of the barrel shit, but still not worth your money.
Right, this is worth it.
This is worth your money. See it on the biggest screen you can.
Right. Well, you know what? I think that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with whatever the fuck we can find.
All right.
All right. Night, guys. See you later.
We'll see you later.
Alcohol, my permanent accessory. Alcohol